Hello, everyone. So we will be waiting for everyone to connect first. I see we are quite a few. This is very good for us and for you. So welcome everyone. We are part of the Student Services Center and we will be talking about Live in France. So thank you for participating to this webinar. Before we begin the presentation in itself, we just have to have a little chat about the webinar rules. So we will have a Q&A session at the end of our presentation. So please make sure to stick until the end. And if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A box that you have and not the chat box, please, for questions, because it will be easier for us to manage all your questions and to answer them. If you want to exchange contacts, of course, you can do that through the chat box and not the Q&A box this time. So questions, Q&A box, contacts, chat box. And of course, if you want, you can also raise your hand and we will be able to give you the permission to speak directly with us at the end during the Q&A, and we'll have a more interactive session. So if I do a little bit of a presentation, as I said, we are part of the Student Services Center. So what is the Student Services Center? It's a huge service with 15 staff members, 4 departments, and it is basically one service dedicated to students. Our main mission is to welcome, guide, advise, and accompany you throughout all your studies at EMLYON. Of course, you will have all the slides that we are showing now after the webinar. We will send them by email. Don't worry, you will have all the contact information at the end of the webinar. Your first point of contact here at the Student Services Center will be the Student Welcome Desk. So if you are in Iitl campus, you will be able to go there directly because the Student Services Center is located on the building A, ground floor, and we are right at the main entrance. And you will have the Student Welcome Desk for first point of contact. Of course, you can also contact them by phone and by email regarding all kinds of questions that you have, but you don't know who to contact. So they will be the ones who will give you the first level of information or guide you to the right contact. Then you have the service for international students. So there is a specific dedicated service for international students for you. It's the International Student Support. So it's composed of myself in Iitl and Zuleika here. And in Paris, you have Fanny, who is also here today. So we basically want to help you, guide you in the best possible way we can regarding immigration. So for example, questions about student visa, study permits, after graduation work permits when you are at the end of your path. We also try to have partners for housing in order to facilitate your housing here in France. And we try to give you all the information that we have. It's the same for health and insurance. We try to guide you throughout these processes and basically for your life in France, transport, phone, etc. Of course, we cannot do miracles. We cannot do everything for you, but we try to help you in the best possible way we can. And then we have the administrative services. They are for all students and they are dealt with the student support. We have Coralie here, who is in charge of the student support with us today. So they basically deal with the administrative integration, and Coralie will be talking about that in a few minutes. So the CVC, the student card, etc. They will also help you during your life at EMLYON with any certificates that you will need, transcripts, questions about social security, third-party liability insurance. And at the end of your path, they're also the ones who will be editing your diploma. So this is quite an important one, this one. The last one is the financial support, who deals with grants and scholarships. So there are 3 types of grants here at EMLYON. Mobility grants such as Erasmus, BRME, when you will do an exchange or an internship abroad. And there are also need-based grants. So for example, the cruise grant, the Fondation EMLYON, or emergency funds. And there are also merit-based grants. So there are basically governmental grants such as the Morocco or Gabon grants, or the campus fund grants such as the FL grants for PG students. So now I will let Coralie explain a little bit more about the administrative registration that you will have to do in July.
Hello everyone, I'm Coralie Coriasco, one of the members of the student support. So during the beginning of July, you will be contacted to deal with your administrative registration. You will receive your password and login also at the beginning of July. In order to realize your administrative registration, you have to connect through the platform Iitl via the link or directly on your maker's board via Iitl administrative registration. Once connected, you have to fill in all the sections. Please make sure your file is completed and not processing when you are finished. And each color has a signification. And when your file is validated by the student support, you will receive an email from us. We'll want you to download your registration certificate. Concerning the third-party liability, it is mandatory. It is different from the health insurance. The third-party liability covers you in case you cause damages or accident to others. And this third-party liability insurance can be included in other insurance like bank contracts, housing insurance, car insurance. If you have already have one, please mention the name on the platform Iitl. And if you don't have one, you can subscribe to EMLYON Partner, the Mutuelle Saint-Christophe, for 10 euros per year through the platform Iitl. Concerning the CVC, during the administrative registration, you're asked to pay the CVC. So the CVC means Contribution à la vie étudiante et de campus. This is a national fee. It is mandatory and required by the French higher education for all the students who study in France. It is not a annual fee. The price is 92 euros, and you will have to pay the CVC every year as long as you are a student in French higher education. Be careful when you fill in the CVC certificate. Nom patronymique is nom de famille. It's a last name. And prénom is your first name. When your file will be validated by the student support, you will receive an email. And at this stage, we will order your student card. When you can come to the campus, you can collect your card at the student support office. We'll send you an email as soon as we have received your card. You will also have a digital card. You can download it on the Iitl app, and you will receive the process by Iitl also by email. And you can use your card for multiple things. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Coralie. It was very useful. So basically, all you have to do is in July, your administrative registration, and then you will have your student card, the Student Services Center, so the welcome desk, the student support, and the international support, as well as the financial support. They are all located in the same place, so it will be easy for you to find us. Don't worry about that. Regarding your next steps in order to come to France, first step that we recommend that you do is to register to the Live in France platform. You had all the informations normally by email regarding the link to register. It's a platform that we have done a partnership with Live in France in order to facilitate your arrival in France, your procedures, etc. Alban here will be talking about that in a few seconds. What we recommend is that you search for housing early. So we know that for some students, for example, who are from India, Pakistan, Chile, Colombia, Brazil, etc. For now, it's quite difficult because you don't know if you will have a visa. Travels are really stopped at the moment. So what we recommend is that you don't have to book your accommodation right now, but you have to search your housing options. You have to check what is the budget, where to live, what kind of housing there is, all this kind of information, so that when you know that you will be able to come, then you will be able to book your accommodation, because you will have all the informations, and it will be more easier and more quickly to do that. The second step is for non-European students. So it's to apply for the student visa. So normally most of you are in this process right now. So we recommend to do that 2 to 3 months before your arrival date in France. You will have to check if you are concerned by the Études en France pré-consular procedure, because you will need the Études en France number, the EEF number, in order to be able to apply for the visa at the consulate or the visa center afterwards. Of course, all this step is very well explained in the Live in France platform. So don't worry, if you go through this platform, you have all the details. A little bit of travel focus. We have put here 3 travel links. So the first one is the Reopen Europa. It's a very useful website with up-to-date information about travel restriction, sanitary measures that are in place in the European countries. So you can check France, of course, you can check other European countries. The second one is the Iitl Travel Center. It's quite the same, but very more international, and they will also put all the documents that you will need, etc. And the last one is from the French government. It's the page for the Certificate of International Travel. And on this page, you will have all the sanitary measures that are required. So for example, if you come from this country, you will have to take a PCR test to come to France, etc. You will have all the information and the certificate to download in order to come to France. So now, before Alban speak about the Live in France platform, we have listed here the link in order to register, so that when you will have the slides, if you didn't register yet, well, you will be able to register to the Live in France platform, which we really encourage you to do. So now I will let Alban share the platform and explain to you the Live in France platform.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the quick introduction. So yeah, hello everybody. I'm super happy to talk with you today. So what is Live in France? Live in France is a platform, and that about 15 people have been working on this platform to provide you super easy process about very specific questions. And I would like to introduce you the whole Live in France platform and then basically how it works. So if you have the chance to log in, and by the way, a lot of EMLYON students have been already signing up, and yet more are to come. So it's really awesome. Whenever you will signing up for the first time, someone from the Live in France team will be in touch with you and will follow you up until you'll be home in your city and safe. The whole point of the platform is that you can do all of the most important administrative process from home, from your sofa, because we've been working on digitalizing all of the process. So for example, we've been through the CEVEC earlier. So whenever you click on CEVEC, there will be questions. We'll be actually asking questions, and we will, according to your own situation, let you know what's up, what you have to do. There is something important you must know about, is that all right, so this is, for example, one process, the housing process. Whenever you click on the housing process, you'll see a few options, right? So something you must know about is at every bottom of whatever process, there will be a link to our help center, which is right now full of information about accommodation, CAF, health insurance, visa, very specific questions that comes all the time, every year. So we've been working in like helping international students and make everything easier for like 6 years now. So with the whole experience we had from the past years, we have been working on this help center to answer the most common questions. And as a matter of fact, about the housing options, I know a lot of you are struggling, and we have been working with a few landlords. So every rooms provided by Living in France platform can be booked without any guarantor, which makes the whole process super easy. So yeah, whenever you log in, as I told you before, a personal, well, a human being, for example, me or someone else from the care team will be in touch with you. So you will have the chance to talk to someone pretty much anytime online. Your questions within minutes. Side of the platform, you will have access to the blog. So the blog is a bit different than the help center. Help center will be very specific questions, when the blog will be about a bit bigger articles. And there is also information about the COVID situation, what you have to do before you're coming, what should you do when you're in France, what are the consequences, what are the information about COVID in France. There is also the visa process, which is super heavy. We've been working on it, so each of you guys can have a personalized process for the visa. And yeah, so health insurance is also part of it. CAF is also part of it. So yeah, this whole platform is about making your life super easy coming in France. And since we actually care about every single person, we would like to make your stay even easier and better. So if you have any question, just sign up in the platform and someone will be in touch with you ASAP. And that's it for me.
Thank you, Alban.
You're welcome.
If you can, yeah, right. So before we start the Q&A session, just a quick save the date. So there is a specific webinar on housing in France. So some of you may have already been there for the first date, which was on June 11, but we have another date for students who couldn't come or for new admitted students, which will be on June 28th, 1 p.m. French local time. So we will be talking about housing in Lyon, Paris, and Saint-Etienne. We will be introducing you our partners, so Studapart, Smart Garant, and Garant Me. And you will have the ability and the opportunity to ask questions directly to our housing partners, who are the experts in the field of housing, better than us. So yeah, if you can go there, if you didn't have the opportunity to come on the 11th, we really encourage you to go on the 28th. Normally you should have received an invitation. If that's not the case, then send us an email at internationaloffice@em-lyon.com so that we can share with you the link in order to register to this webinar. So now we are finished for the presentation, so we can move on to the Q&A. I see that we have some questions on the Q&A. So Simon is asking, so currently we are informed of the official semester we start on August 30th. So this is for incoming exchange students. But there are any welcome days or language courses which are even earlier. Therefore, my question, when do we have to be physically in Lyon, Iitl? So when it comes to language courses or start earlier, I cannot enter this. Nicolas Girardet, which is your program coordinator, will be the one who can answer that. So you have to send an email to incoming MSc program. You should have this email address, and Nicolas will be glad to answer you on that. But about the questions, when do we have to be physically in Lyon, Iitl? So basically, I would say that the best is to always come like a couple of weeks before the start of your class, because you have the time to fully be in your accommodation, to check your environment, where the grocery stores, where the places to go. You have also the time a little bit to check the city, because when the classes will start, maybe you won't have so many times to just chill in Lyon. So yeah, maybe a couple of weeks so that you have the time to do your administrative procedures, check your environment, where to go shopping, where to go to the restaurant, etc. Next question is, as a European citizen, do I have to check in with the municipality, French government in general, if I spend more than 3 months in France without leaving? No, you have nothing to do. Just be sure when you come to come with your European health insurance card. This is normally blue with the European flag on it, because this is something that you will need when you have to go to a doctor or something like that. You will have to show this card in order to be taken in charge. So be sure to have your European health insurance card. But here in France, you have no other administrative procedure in terms of checking in or something like that. Question from Christina. Hi, sometime I read that we should bring our birth certificate translated to French. Is it only for the visa application or also for EU citizens? So usually, for example, the CAF, they ask for the birth certificate translated by a sworn translator here in France. Other organisms could ask you for that. Sometimes some banks can ask you for that, not every one of them, but they can ask you for that. So we recommend that you come with your certificate and then you have it translated, because some French organisms are very strict about that. So this is something that we recommend that you have with you. So Manuel has a question about exams. So as we are not part of the pedagogical programs, etc., we cannot answer on this one. I'm sorry. So you will have to ask this either if you are an incoming exchange to Nicolas, or if you're an ETD, PG, or regular student, then you will have to ask your admission officers. But we cannot answer on this matter. Sorry. Natalia is asking, what French bank would you recommend for foreign non-European students? So EMLYON has banks partners that you will be able to check on the Iitl platform when you will do your registration, but you can also check the partners that are in the Live in France platform. I see that there is a BNP Paribas, for example, but we don't really recommend one or another bank. You can also choose to have an online bank if you want, with, for example, Moniz or N26. So yeah, you have some partners.
Yeah, sorry, I might have something interesting for you guys. We have been working closely with BNP recently, and we will have we'll be able to manage opening bank account a few weeks before you get in the city. So you can basically do the process online. And then whenever you get to France, you will have your card ready home. So yeah, if you would like to do this, you can start the process on Live in France platform. And the good thing is you'll get 80 euros bonus if you open the bank account, and which is mandatory if you want to do CAF as well.
Yeah, thank you, Alban, for these good deals. So next question is from Douglas. How does transportation work in Lyon? Is there an app? Oh, the question just disappeared. Is there an app where we can also plan our commute? Do we need to get a transportation card? So EQUILY campus is quite a little bit at 20 minutes by bus of the city of Lyon, the city center. So usually, yes, you will have to get a transportation card. The transportation in Lyon is managed by the TCL company. So they are called for students with student fees. It's usually like around 35 euros for students. There is also an app. You will be able to use the app. Well, you will have like the possibility to make your itinerary directly on the app. Like, for example, you are in the city center, you want to go to EQUILY campus, or you want to go elsewhere, you just do your itinerary and it will tell you which bus to take and when and etc. It's very well done. Another question from Addison. Thanks for the information. Quickly, when will a calendar for the 21-22 academic school year be available? Unfortunately, we cannot answer on this one. This is something that the programs are still working on it, and they will send it to you directly or through the Makers Board or something like that. But we cannot give you, unfortunately, an answer about the academic calendar. Anja is asking, could you let us know the to-dos and timeline with regards to obligatory insurance? Well, if it's about the health insurance plan, well, you have to do this once you arrive in France in the first few weeks, but you have that on the Live in France platform. It's basically a checklist with a timeline on what to do and when. So don't worry, you have everything. You will be able to check if you have done this. You will have a progression bar. So yeah, just know that for now, important step is housing visa. Once you arrive in France, it will be health insurance, visa validation, and then afterwards, CAF, etc. Lily Yoon is asking, heard that there will be staffs from TCL to help students make the transportation card once we arrive the campus. Is it correct? For now, we are working on the back to school event. So usually when it was not COVID, we asked TCL to come to the campus. So right now we don't have the date and when and how, but we are working on it. So we cannot tell you right now if it will be on the exact date of the back to school, etc. You will have this information in due time, but for now it is not validated yet. Douglas is asking, is it possible to get vaccinated in Lyon as an exchange student from Europe? Yes, it is possible. If you have your European health insurance card, you can go with that. You will have to take an appointment at a vaccination center. Here in France, we use the application called Doctolib. I can write it down on the chat. This application allows us to find a doctor and every other specialist, laboratories, etc., in order to take appointments. And it is the same for vaccination centers. You can take an appointment, create your account on Doctolib, of course, and then go to the vaccination center. You will have to present your European health insurance card. For non-European students, it will be the same. Maybe we have to wait a little bit more until you have your papers from the health insurance plan, the Sécurité Sociale, but you will be able also to get vaccine in France. Nicole Juliette is asking, are online classes still an option for international students for classes beginning in September? So this is also quite a pedagogical question because it's linked to the program. What we have heard until now is that they are planning on non-online year, if that's possible, of course. So right now they are doing everything so that classes can be up to normal, going back to normal. Of course, if there are like restrictions, etc., maybe that will change. But for now, they are working for an option that has no online. But it is not stopped on that. Maybe that will change because we don't know with the pandemic situation, etc. So, again, I'm saying that I cannot really answer this question because this is not something that it can change. It can change. To which campus the international students admitted in M1 are assigned to? Are you referring for PG students, ETD students? Normally, PG students, MSc in management, incoming exchange, regular MSc in management students, and ETD students are doing their first year in Lyon, in Écully campus. And there is only one campus in Lyon, I mean. So I have answered all the questions that were in the Q&A box. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate. Is there a canteen Resto U on campus, Écully campus? So there is a cafeteria on Écully campus, which is not Resto U, but there is a Resto U in École Centrale, which is across Écully campus. And it is across the street of EMLYON, and you can go there. EMLYON students can go there. Any student can go there. So you will be able to use the Cruz restaurant, Resto U, at like 5-minute walks of EMLYON. Teslim is asking, is it mandatory to take complementary health insurance while applying for visa? Complementary health insurance in France is not mandatory, but for visa, you may need to have an international insurance, which is not the same. For that, our partner Groupama is facilitating your procedures, and you can ask for an attestation from Groupama. So if you need this attestation, don't hesitate to send us an email and we will tell you the procedure in order to get this attestation from Groupama. Good question, and maybe Alban can help me on that. Is it possible to use Revolut to get French government student help, CAF, I suppose it is named, or it has to be a French bank account? On my knowledge, it has to be a French bank account.
Yeah, correct. Excellent question. The main problem with Revolut and 26 is that they do not provide a French IBAN, which is requested from CAF. So there's been many different questions about it. Should CAF refuse non-French IBAN? But yeah, yes, to do the CAF process, let's say, since it's a very not easy process, so you must put all your chains on the same side. So yes, better do a French bank account rather than N26 or Revolut. Last information I would give, I personally use N26 for travel purposes whenever I'm going anywhere in the world. And for this specific use, N26 is awesome. Whenever you go abroad, it's really easy. But if you want to settle down in France for like a few months, maybe a year or two, the French bank account will be necessary for health insurance, for CAF mostly. Yeah, so French bank account, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Alban. Manuel is asking if IBAN discrimination is illegal in Europe.
That's actually correct. And that's why I said that there has been huge, yeah, you can sue CAF. No, but yes, it is a real matter. So, but again, if you can do the bank account, it's not that complicated.
And if I'm not wrong, I think that Monies is giving a French bank account, French bank IBAN.
So, CAF is like a good process which can give you money from the government. So
thank you. Anja is asking, how about clubs and societies to mingle with all EMLYON students? Really good question. EMLYON has a very good associative life. There are lots of student associations at EMLYON. One is dedicated to international students. It is called the BDI, Bureau des Internationaux, so International Students Bureau. So they are going to do some presentation and everything when classes will begin. Don't worry about that. You will have the occasion to meet them. They are doing lots of events during the year in order to mingle students. They have also a buddy system. So you will have the opportunity to be able to meet EMLYON students. Also in classes, there are usually group projects, mixed group projects in order to mix you with French students and everything. So don't worry about that. I think you will enjoy the student association life at EMLYON. Charbel is asking, and I think this is a question for Coralie, can you explain what is CVEC? And if I have a scholarship from EMLYON, am I excluded from the fees?
So the CVEC is mandatory. This is a national fee. It's 92 euros for this year. You have to pay even if you have a scholarship from EMLYON.
And maybe it's good to a little bit specify the EMLYON scholarship that you're all talking about. It's a discount on the tuition fees for the first year. It's not really a scholarship. It's more a discount. So in terms of the government in France, it's not seen as a scholarship. The only scholarships that can give you the right to not pay the CVEC if you have the Crous scholarship, which is a governmental scholarship for it's a need-based grant, usually for French students. So the tuition fee discount that you have is not a scholarship in this way. Which housing insurance would you recommend, though it's mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory. I know that Live in France has a partner. Maybe Alban, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's correct. So just to give a few information. Oh, yeah, it works now. Yeah, so the housing insurance is a very specific service from France. So anytime, any moment you are renting a place, you have to subscribe for housing insurance. So this is a mandatory process, and that can be done in the platform. We also have been working with a few companies And the good point is that you will be able to do it within the next 2 weeks, maybe days. You will be able to do the whole process inside Live in France platform, and then get a quote, and then pay directly to the company's platform. Housing insurance will basically cover you up from a fire, something that no one can control, or thieves. And the thing is, you must be insured of the rent you're renting. And the main reason why is because as long as you rent a place, it's like you own it. So you must be insured of this in case any wrong events would happen. Last, about the price. The price depends on what kind of accommodation you have, one thing. And the other thing will be how high you want to be insured. So there is like a low coverage, the mid coverage, and the highest coverage. So it's really up to you. But from the past years, the price would be about 4 would be really cheap a month, up to 12, 15 a month. Yeah, last not least, I would really recommend you to watch out about housing insurance for like 20, 40 a year. The main problem with this is that if anything happens, you will have to pay from your money, a lot of money. So whatever is cheap will not be the best way. So yeah, to finish, you can start the housing insurance process from Live in France platform. And if you have any questions, you can chat with us so we can help you to do it.
Thank you, Alban. Adding to the question of Taslim, is the European health insurance card sufficient? For example, we have to register for CPM, but there's something else mandatory regarding insurance. So European citizen from the European Union, Switzerland, etc., they don't have to register to the CPM because they have the European health insurance card. Okay, so you are not concerned by the registration to the CPM because it's your own country that is covering you. If you want to, you can subscribe to a complementary health insurance called Mutuelle, but this one is not mandatory, and you are free to choose the company that suits you the best. Some companies are dedicated to students when it comes to that. For example, HEYME, H-E-Y-M-E, sorry, or LMDE, or SMERA, they are dedicated to students regarding complementary health insurance. When it comes to international insurance, well, you will be covered from EMLYON by Groupama. Unfortunately, incoming exchange students are not concerned by that because the international insurance, Groupama, is included in the EMLYON tuition fee, and incoming students, exchange students, are not paying tuition fees. So unfortunately, they are not concerned by that. So if you are an incoming exchange student coming to EMLYON, well, good thing is you don't have to pay tuition fees. The other thing is that you have to get an international insurance for yourself when you come to France. Okay, this one is very important for incoming exchange students to come with an international insurance of your own. Another question from Kiana, but I'm not sure to understand it. I'm sorry. So maybe if you can specify it, because mandatory tuition fees for non-EU students does not apply for exchange students from EU universities, right? So maybe I have just answered that. Incoming exchange students are not paying tuition fees at EMLYON because it's a partnership between two universities. I hope that that was your question. If not, feel free to specify it by raising your hand if you want to speak, or by writing it directly in the QA box. for now, we have answered all the questions. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate. We have another question. As an international student, can I get my travel insurance in my own country? So again, if you are an incoming exchange student, of course, you can get an international insurance in your own country if you want. But if you're staying more than 90 days in France and you are not from a European country, a European Union country, you will still have to register to the French health insurance plan Sécurité Sociale. This one is mandatory for non-European Union students who are staying more than 90 days in France. This one is mandatory. But of course, if you want, you can have a travel insurance in your own country, especially if you are an incoming exchange student. Well, I see we have another question. Each time I say that we don't have any more questions, we have another one. Douglas is asking, are there no-go zones where housing should be avoided in Lyon? There is no-go zones. We will talk about housing in Lyon during the webinar Housing in France. I invite you to come because we will talk about the different districts in Lyon and maybe where it is more for students, etc. What kind of districts there are regarding housing, the budget, etc. So I will keep this one for the webinar because, by the way, I'm spoiling everything. So yeah, we will talk about that in the Housing in France webinar on the 28th of June.
Yeah, sorry guys, if I may add something, I've been sharing the Help Center link on the conversation chat something, so you can basically get there and it's divided by subject. And yeah, if you have any question about visa, accommodation, housing insurance, whatever process, just click in like the category and you will have pretty much all the questions we've been through. This is not about a specific administrative process from the EMLYON University. It's more about arrival in France, administrative process, external services, paying CAF, health insurance, CVEC, yeah, all that. So, and there is also a contact form if something is not clear. We always will be always open to feedbacks if you have anything to add. Yeah.
Addison is asking, what important questions are we forgetting to ask? This is interesting. Usually we just wait for questions from students because they are really variable, actually. So yeah, I don't know, actually. It can be about all kinds of subjects, for example, visa, insurance, transport, I don't know, phones. It can be about everything. Just not the pedagogical issues because we are not part of the program, so we cannot answer you on this one. Is the MSc in management program open to alternance contract? There are some alternance at EMLYON. I know that for first year it is not possible. I don't know from which year you will be able to take alternance and what are the eligibility criteria. Once you will, you know, be in school and everything, you will be able to talk about that with what is called the Conseil Parcours. there is a team dedicated to that, and they will tell you about alternance and how to check with the career center, etc. But we cannot answer in details about that. But there are alternance, yes. More like apprentissage, but it's quite similar. Well, if we have no other questions, then maybe we can. There is another question. What login is to be used for Live in France account? Your own email address is okay. Well, then maybe we will end the webinar here. Thank you everyone for participating, asking questions. We hope that it has been very useful to you. Thank you again, Alban, for your presentation of Live in France. I'm sure it's very useful for our students. Thank you, Coralie. Thank you, Fanny and Zuleika, for being here for the webinar. I see that all the students have really shared their contacts, so that is also very good. So good opportunity for you to meet and exchange before classes begin. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope that you will have a wonderful day, and bye-bye.